No Arnold Palmers.
No polling updates.
Just vibes. This is Vibes Only, the podcast that checks the vibes of American politics every week.
And here to check the vibes with us this week is actor, comedian, activist, and my friend and co-founder at Generator Collective, Ilana Glazer.
We'll talk with Ilana about how Generator makes politics fun and accessible, and of course, how we're all feeling with less than 2 weeks to go. Oh my God.
We'll also talk a little bit about how each campaign is navigating what's expected to be a historic gender gap in this election.
Then we're going to pull up our group chat and leave you with a good vibe. Let's get into it. Scream! Screaming. Okay, we have an icon, a legend, a hero of democracy and our movement with us today. Ilana Glazer, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling, well, I'm grateful for the weather, and that's why I am recording outside. I'm feeling pretty anxious about this election.
Yeah.
It's like an up and down, and it's like weird how we are one love, we are one organism. You can genuinely feel the vibe. You know, you can genuinely feel the energy of the organism, of like how the planet's feeling, how the country's feeling. And it's like, it is nervy out here.
Yeah.
It's scary. I'm feeling good in my personal life, scared at large.
Yeah, I feel like we all have like slightly different vantage points, whether it's online or how we're spending our time these days. Glennis, you just came back from another swing state visit.
I did.
Where was this one?
Raleigh. I was in Raleigh-Durham,
Sorry.
North Carolina. I'm still cautiously optimistic.
Good.
Which I know is just the Politico talking point. I was on North Carolina State campus on Friday, and I talked to a lot of students, which I also kind of like feel weird about because I just assume I look 21, you know?
It's crazy.
You do.
And I'm like, wait, no, you don't.
40 is like, achoo, and we're 40. Like, it's like, it's right there. And it's great. Like, 40 is like young, but it's like, you're not a fucking college student. You're a ma'am to a college student.
Yeah. No, I'm still a miss.
Okay, sorry, I'm a ma'am. Because I don't know what the Jufro does, but somehow I'm like 60 to 20-year-olds, you know what I mean? So, okay, you're a miss, because you're like,
Yeah.
hello, and you get your like
No,
blonde hair
literally.
swinging behind your head.
I'm like, do you have a voting plan? But it was curious. Like, a lot of people were like, yep, I already voted. I voted early. I voted for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And
Oh.
then some people were like, I'm not telling you who I voted for. And I'm like, well, I know the answer there.
Right.
I don't know. Some people are really weird about it, even when you're like otherwise vibey. I do sometimes get people that just have a thing about their vote being a secret that I don't always assume. I don't always assume that it means it's a Trump vote.
Okay, well, that's good of you. I do.
They're like, it's my right, and it's my vote, and it's my right, or like whatever.
I'm like, it is, but like, just let me know.
Just tell me. Just fucking tell me.
Brian, how are you feeling?
I did a whole thing on Instagram about there being concerning signs coming out of Nevada. And so that's giving me a little bit extra angst at the moment, where if you just look at who's returned their ballots so far in vote by mail or through early in-person voting in Nevada, at time of recording, Republicans have a slight lead in that, which is very unusual. And that's creating some tension over here. But I will say that if I was putting money on it like it were a game, like I was betting, I would be betting on Kamala Harris. I would rather be her than him, given the current data that we have access to. You have to remember that she can win with just Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Like, she can lose Nevada and still be president. She can lose Arizona and still be president. She can lose Georgia and still be president. She can lose North Carolina and still be president. We don't have to win everything. I hope she wins all of those. And I'm not giving up on any of them, because I'm going to get yelled at for saying that. I'm not giving up on any of those states. Let's win them all, 100%. And I'm telling you, we don't have to win every single state for her to be elected.
Was I spreading fake news in North Carolina? Because I was telling people that Trump really does need to win North Carolina. Like, if he doesn't win North Carolina, his path is like not good.
100%. That's 100% accurate.
Okay.
And I think that really messes with people's minds, because we sort of think about the tipping point for him and tipping point for her differently sometimes.
Yeah.
That's good news, because the Mark Robinson troll villain character is so motivating. Like, he's just so bonkers and like offensive to every single type of person, every race, religion,
Yeah.
gender identity that he's motivating. So I actually didn't know this. It's more like gosh, I didn't play enough like board games when I was a kid, but it's not like, it's like almost like I'm like thinking of like Mousetrap or something, or it's like a Rube Goldberg machine where it's like this one and then this one, and it's not really like you have to win 3 swing states to not win this. Like I'm surprised to hear you say if he doesn't win North Carolina, it's unlikely he wins, period.
I think that the easiest way to think about it are probably dominoes, but each of them are starting from a different side of the dominoes, and they want all the dominoes
Mm.
to fall in the direction that they're pushing. It would be very surprising and unusual for her to win North Carolina and lose in all of those other places. Like, that would be a huge anomaly.
You encouraged me to vibe out, so I'm going to. This is the third Dominoes reference and visualization that I'm experiencing in a week.
I'm shocked.
Me as well. Mr. Rogers like had this epic fucking Dominoes episode. He like went to see this like nerdy white guy at a music shop, and it was like considered an instrument back in the early 80s. It was crazy.
What?
It was like 1,000 dominoes, this like total dork lined up. And it was like really impressive, but it was also like, oh my God, dude, like how long did this take you? And then there's this like pretty bad and good animated movie called Robots starring Robin Williams from 2004. And like one of the big set pieces was like a monsoon of dominoes. So here we are, number 3. There's something in here for little old me.
I'm making a note. I'm gonna watch that movie post-election. Is it good?
No, it's kind of freaky and trying to like anthropomorphize robots. I would prefer you watch the Mr. Rogers episode.
Okay, T. All right, I can watch that pre-election.
Yes.
I just want to say I was in Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago and I got to see Mr. Rogers' set because he's from Pittsburgh.
Yes,
Oh,
and
wow.
they filmed it in Pittsburgh, and they visited all the working class people and working class families in Pittsburgh. And at the time, artists were working class too. He'll go see the choir, and this clarinet
Mhm.
player in this Dominoes episode was like just whooping it up in his living room playing the clarinet. And it's like it's deeply sad and touching to watch Mr. Rogers and see a time when working class people in this country were treated with dignity.
Wow. I mean, it's also incredible timing that we're having you on the pod right now
Thank
because
goodness.
in the club, we all fam.
Hey! Do you know them? No. But in the club, we all fam. What? In the club, we all fam. In the club, we are all family. Are you racist?
Oh my goodness.
Can you believe
Oh.
it?
If you do not know what I'm talking about, viral TikTok trend, also iconic quote from season 2, I want to say. It might
Oh,
have been 3,
wow.
but I'm guessing
Yeah.
season 2 of Broad City, of which you are a co-creator,
Yes.
and is like having this resurgence. Who's the first one that you saw? When did you know that this was happening? And what is your take on the new context?
In the club popped off. Okay, so my brother said the first person to do it was this really funny comedian Maggie something from Chicago. But I think what has been allowing somebody's like replay of it to pop off is this rewatch podcast series in the backdrop, just sort of like brewing and stirring Broad City in the backdrop. It's been going viral and it's very funny and it's a very interesting feeling. When I saw the babies doing it, aka Charlie XCX.
Do you know them? No. But in the club, we all fam. What?
Who's not the baby of babies? Troye Sivan is a baby. Sabrina Carpenter is a cultural baby. I was like, LOL, the babies are doing this. And then now older folks are doing it. Robert De Niro did
I
it. It
saw
was really
that.
funny with Kerry Washington. That was hilarious. And then it like got insane because on SNL, Maya Rudolph playing Kamala Harris did it.
I saw
And
that.
then Kamala Harris herself actually did it with Usher, LOL, which
Yeah.
is like as big to me as Kamala Harris. I knew about Usher before I knew about Kamala Harris. And it both feels like incredibly heartwarming as well as aging.
But hear me out. I feel like that sound is like centering the consciousness of the election right now, in that like we want everyone to feel safe and secure and fair in this country. And I know, like, in the club we all fam is like, whatever, but it's like that's what we want in this country. We want everyone to feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, as many people as possible, for sure. And even, people who don't believe I should have rights and that my rights should be taken away, I want them to have their basic needs met,
Right.
because I think I think that's actually what's driving so much hate, is basic needs not being met.
Wow, it hits.
It's stuff, but into Club.
But it is such a good sort of vehicle to discuss how pop culture moments and references are actually driving political conversations. And that's something that the two of you have mastered through Generator Collective. So anchor us in a moment in time. Let's rewind. And how did this start? What was the purpose at the outset? And what does Generator Collective look like and mean to you right now?
So Generator Collective, I'm gonna actually work backwards. Generator Collective is me and Glennis's organization, and our main mode right now is political messaging. We make really good political messaging that doesn't patronize or pander to our audience, targeting Gen Z and millennials, and I would say women and queer Gen Z and millennials is our target audience. So that's like our main thing right now. We create these cheat sheets. Sadly, civic engagement is really hard, designed to be complicated in order to hoard power among a powerful minority. So making shit like cheat sheets, which we do these web series, Cheat Sheet for the Voting Booth, and we do cheat sheets for key elections in battleground states, is just like, I know it's hard and it's like kind of shameful that it's so hard, but just take these into the voting booth, share them. And these are, the progressives, the most progressive candidates you can elect right now.
Lissa Slotkin, a congresswoman representing Michigan, is now running for U.S. Senate. We need to elect her because her opponent is some shitty old white dude who opposes abortion and IVF, which only makes sense if you're a piece of shit.
But we founded Generator in 2016 as Generator Collective. We've been in conversation with former Attorney General Eric Holder under Obama, Gloria Steinem, ever heard of her? Amanda Wynn, incredible. Jumaane Williams, New York's public advocate, Cynthia Nixon, when she was running against
Cuomo.
Forget it. I don't even need to say his fucking name. And those conversations have been incredible. And also, as a comedian, I invite being laughed at. So I don't care if I don't know shit. And I'm like, hold on. I remember when Cynthia Nixon was like, Andrea, teach your cousins. And I was like, excuse me? Because like they're Andrea Stewart Cousins, because like the word cousins threw me and like isn't a name in my mind. So I'm just like,
that's your
what
cousin?
The hell are you talking about? So I'm just like, I don't care. You can laugh at me. I don't know shit. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And in fact, I actually don't think it's a coincidence. I'm like relatively smart and can put two and two together. And yet, why isn't it easier to get a cheat sheet for voting and for civic engagement? So we put an answer to that. So in conversation and digital messaging, and we throw dance parties as well. Dance parties where you can dance, but then you can also have like an easy, graspable, accessible opportunity to sign up to Phone Bank, Canvas, or other voter empowerment volunteer opportunities.
Yeah, we really think that culture and policy hinge, and we tried to create a space for that. I'll go even further back. Ilana and I share a mutual best friend. We're also both like millennial women. So back in the days of like AIM in your dorm room, our mutual best friend, this man named Matt, DJ Matty Stopes on the internet, he had this roommate that he would tell me about, and then we became friends when I moved to New York and we were at a dinner party. And I, come from the political space, government, and Trump had just been elected. And Ilana turned to me and was like, how did this happen? Thinking that I knew everything because I worked on the Hill and I worked at a super PAC. But we discovered there was this space of not knowing and feeling shame in not knowing. And we knew we weren't the only ones. So when we created Generator, we really wanted to create like a space, first, a physical space with our events that we threw, but then with COVID, it pivoted to digital, where people could feel like, okay, it's okay that I don't know, but I'm willing to learn and I want to be in an environment where I can learn. And we've built it from there. And it's been super, super fun. And we've learned a lot. And here we are today.
I've been a fan, literally. That's how I originally met both of you. I'm waiting for a fact check. I think that that's correct. Was through Generator, and I think that the work you all do is So incredibly important, not being done by anyone else in the way that you all are doing it. And it takes such a special persons to be able to create content and messaging that understands the viewer in such an intense way. And that's what you guys do better than anyone, right? You can get a bunch of really smart political consultants and academics in a room who know everything about the Constitution. But if they can't actually get people to give a shit, their knowledge is entirely wasted. And so you all being a bridge into like the political world for everyday people who really care a lot and haven't had the time or need to like navigate our incredibly complex system is so important.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it, and it's like, for me, like my eyes glaze over when a certain type of person tells me information, and I'm like, you're talking down to me. This is just like, unfortunately, like the system is set up for me to feel spoken down to when someone like you speaks. But like when women and queers are telling me about what's going on, it's just a little bit easier for me to take in, you know? So I find that like that's sort of the lens through which we're writing our messaging.
Yeah. And a lot of our work, Brian, you know this already, but aligns with what you're building and have built at Oath, because especially over the last like 2 years, whether it be focusing on the midterms or even, this election cycle with cheat sheet for the voting booth, like down ballot is so important. Like it can't be every 4 years that we like slap people in the face and say, okay, wake up, you got to vote for a president. Because I mean, people don't feel a real change necessarily when it's just a presidential election. So, a
Right.
lot of the work we do is like, how can we get the most progressive people elected at the local and state level to continue to build the true like multiracial progressive democracy that like our country wants and deserves. But it doesn't happen overnight. It's like a long build. So that's part of what we hope to do over the next decades.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I love working with both of you.
Yeah.
So, as you just mentioned, Generator has a bit of a tilt towards a female audience, and you just recently released Babes, an iconic film, which I thought was both hilarious and heartbreaking at the same time.
Thank you.
And it's like super topical because this is the election of the gender divide. I can't even tell you how many headlines we've seen about like men versus women.
Yeah.
And if you look at the data, that's sort of borne out, where you have Harris currently with a 53 to 41% lead over Trump in the female audience. And then you have Trump with a 54 to 40% lead over Harris with men. What do we think is driving this? Some of it's obvious, maybe some of it's not. And like, is this tired? Are we over this?
Can I ask, like, do you guys believe this?
Great question.
I'm struggling to. I'm like, I feel like men who'd vote for Trump want to be heard on these stupid polls.
We've talked about this a lot on the pod of like who actually answers the phone calls for the polls.
Yeah.
Who are they actually reaching? What does it actually mean? At least for me, in my consciousness, I have this vision of who the Trump voter is, and it's like a white male who doesn't want women to have access to reproductive rights. Is that accurate? I don't know. Like, I think that I've created a caricature of who the Trump voter is, and I think this is a question we're asking ourselves. Is that correct?
I mean, I think that's the Trump voter. Is that really, a quarter of the American population? That's the thing I don't quite believe. Women who aren't voting for Kamala, I don't think typically want to be known either. I don't know. I think a lot of men don't like Trump because he's such an embarrassing example of masculinity. So that's why that surprises me.
I think that there is a real divide here, or like a real difference in behavior, but I think it's overhyped because it's a sexier media narrative than other potential fault lines. Like the best predictor currently of your voting behavior is education level. Like we are really split. The parties are really split right now across college educated, non-college educated, with Democrats having this like huge swing towards a more educated audience and the inverse happening for the Republican Party.
God damn.
That's not going to generate as many headlines. That's not a sexy narrative. It's harder to get like sort of good quotes about that from
Right.
people, because people don't have as much like such loaded perceptions about like education status as they do gender, in my opinion. So it's just not talked about.
Agree. We're seeing though over the last, we were talking about this last week in the pod or on the pod about how, Kamala Harris with the different podcast appearances that she's making is trying to close that margin, or at least reach the audiences that she wouldn't have on traditional media, whether it be Alex Cooper and Call Her Daddy. Joe Rogan never happened.
Oh yeah.
By the way, which I forgot about.
I forgot.
But there was online murmuring that could potentially happen. But now with less than 2 weeks left, I don't see it happening. Did you hear this, Ilana, that Kamala Harris was like, it was rumored that she was going to go on the Joe Rogan podcast, which has about 114 million weekly listeners?
No, girl. What?
That seems
no,
just
14 million. 14 million.
14 million?
That would be 1 out of 3 Americans.
Don't give him that power.
I'm just thinking about generator stats, it's just stuck in my head.
If JD Vance ever becomes president, it will be 114, because we will all be required to tune in. We will have like AirPods drilled in every day until we get our daily dose of Joe Rogan indoctrination.
Ooh, I've been really having trouble even thinking about it, entertaining this option at all.
Yeah.
I'm blown away to hear you even have that fantasy, that nightmarish fantasy of JD Vance as president.
Yikes. I mean, Donald Trump is aging quickly, I will say.
Very quickly.
Like, do we think he's going to finish a 4-year term?
No. That's why I feel like he's bombing the audition too on purpose, but like we're in such a jokey sort of satirical state that it's like working in his favor or whatever.
Oh my God.
But yeah, JD Vance would be. It's bad. It's really crazy.
I think that Vance is a good example of the challenge for Trump in trying to win back this critical audience for him. If there is this gender divide, if we accept that there is this like gap right now in how the candidates are perceived, the goal is to lose by less in the demographic that you're going to lose. So if you're Harris, you need to win over just a few extra percentage points of men, not necessarily majority, right? Because you can run up the score with women. And the opposite is true for Trump. And Vance makes that, I think, much harder for Trump among women, because he is such a villain and has made so many ridiculous and offensive and aggressive comments about women and child as cat ladies and older women and childcare and just like preposterous things. Whereas Walz does the opposite for Harris, where Walz actually helps with a young male demographic. He's football coach. He's
a
whatever.
Nice dad.
Yeah, they're terrified of him.
You guys, you know who JD Vance looks very much like, an eerie resemblance to the like sexually abusive Duggar brother.
Oh my God, I forgot about.
I have not let the Duggars go.
Wait, I'm Googling Duggar mugshot. Yeah, he does.
Looks literally exactly like him. Let's put that out there.
Oh my God. His courtroom sketch is literally JD Vance's future presidential portrait in the worst timeline. It looks just like him.
The body is the soul. And when people look alike, their spirits are like pretty similar. And I'm just like, he might as well have been on the Duggars, JD Vance, because he's giving.
He is giving.
JD Vance is one of the most unlikable, least charismatic political candidates of all time, potentially.
Yeah.
You know what I'm confused about is that, and we've talked about this again on the pod before, of how Trump is wishy-washy with the IVF, with the abortion, even though, 1 in 3 women in America lives under a Donald Trump abortion ban, which is, like 6 weeks. He called himself on Fox News, which, by the way, was like a town hall that was like, women were chosen to be there, all full of supporters, that he is the father of IVF.
I believe that's what this is about.
Oh, I want to talk about IVF. I'm the father.
You don't hear that every day.
I'm the father of IVF, so I want to hear this question.
So I'm the mother of 3 small children, and I have many friends that have struggled with fertility issues over the years while trying to grow their families. And while they're pro-life, they're very concerned that the abortion bans will affect their ability to access IVF and other fertility treatments.
So I got a call from Katie Britt, a young just a fantastically attractive person from Alabama. She's a senator. And she called me up like emergency, because an Alabama judge had ruled that the IVF clinics were illegal.
A lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Number one, why aren't we seeing Katie Britt State of the Union clips in ads? Do you guys remember that? Katie Britt is the woman who gave the Handmaid's Tale State of the Union rebuttal.
I did not put that together.
Yes, that's who he's referencing.
Like the attractive woman.
She is fantastically attractive. She was attractive.
We see you, we hear you, we smell you.
That was so crazy. The really unfortunate thing about Trump remains how naturally funny he is,
Mhm.
especially with it's like total brown face makeup. It's like, it's beyond the concealer is too dark. It's bronzer as foundation.
Mhm.
That as like literal clown garb, and then his delivery. It's like, it's so unfortunate. And I do want to chide you guys for even sharing the clip, because I find that giving him any airtime, he's unfortunately very funny. Literally evil, sadistic, psychotic, funny.
Coming from you, that's crazy to me.
It sucks. It sucks. He said 3 times he was waiting to say the talking point, "I'm the father of IVF," which, what does that mean? You invented it? That's what that would mean? Like, that doesn't, what does this even mean? It would mean he's the inventor. You know, it doesn't
Right.
even make sense. It's so...
No, it doesn't make sense. Like, and it's much more benign when Al Gore says he invented the internet. You know, it's like, that's
Al
funny.
Gore said he invented the internet?
Yeah.
Glennis is obsessed with Al Gore.
I love Al Gore. Yeah. I mean, we'd be living in a different America.
He's single.
LOL. Al Gore.
Wow. Not a shitak on vibes only. Okay, on the politics of it all, Glennis, to your point, I would add that it's worse than being wishy-washy, because I think that
Yeah.
wishy-washy is like, oh, I'm going to vote one way this day, and then next year I'm going to vote a different way or something. His campaign position is just completely divorced from what his actual policy position is on the issue. And he has a very clear policy position
Right.
that he's shown he will take steps to advance, and that's a national abortion ban. And that also includes, if you erode the right to abortion through things like fetal personhood laws, you will erase access to IVF, period. You can't actually have your cake and eat it too. Then you have like the campaign position, which is, if I say that my FDA is going to strike down access to abortion medication, I'm going to lose. And if I say that these far-right groups have a stranglehold over Project 2025 and my future administration and are going to roll back access across the country, I'm going to lose. Like, that's why you have this massive gap between policy position, static, and campaign position, fake.
And also just personality. Like, what I find really difficult to reconcile is that, like, from all, everything Donald Trump says and does, NJD and a bunch of the men in that circle, I just get the vibe, because of what they say, that they just hate women. They just
Yeah.
hate women. Whether
Yeah.
it goes back to like Donald Trump saying he's going to grab a woman by the pussy in the
Yeah.
locker room, to today, where he was, I guess, on a hot mic with, like, he was at a rally with steelworkers saying something derogatory about women, and male leadership in the Republican Party, and female leadership, quite frankly,
That's right.
respect or like women. And that is just the reality. And that manifests in legislation. It manifests in how they talk about women, how they treat women, how they view women in this country. And I don't know when or how that's going to change. What's going on in people's group chats?
What is going on in my group chat?
I'll tell you what's going on in mine.
Yeah, hit me.
We have a dance party happening in Brooklyn
That's right.
on Thursday.
This Thursday.
It is at Littlefield in Gowanus. Ever been there? And it's going to be super fun.
It's the Democracy Ball.
That's right.
And all proceeds go to benefit 1PA, which is an amazing organization out of Pennsylvania that is organizing voters.
That's right. This Thursday, October 24th at Littlefield, NYC in Brooklyn. You got a democracy ball, and we're going to be dancing, and people can meet Malcolm Kenyatta. This is all about phone banking, signing up for phone banking in Pennsylvania, and they can meet one of the candidates for whom they will be dancing and phone banking, Malcolm Kenyatta, who's running for Auditor General. Brian, you're an excellent dancer.
Oof. I wouldn't say excellent, but I would say enthusiastic. And that's where it really counts.
That to me is the metric. I'm not like, look at those moves. I'm like, look at his enthusiasm.
He's trying. We last had our dance party, or I last had a dance party with y'all. I think it was pre 2022 midterm cycle. Didn't we do one of these at Knockdown?
Yeah.
Or was that in
Oh my
2023?
God, yeah, I forgot about that. That was 2022.
We had a blast. I'm dabbing, audio only people. We had so much fun. So you don't want to miss it. Definitely go get a ticket immediately.
1000%. And like, it is just good to move your body and feel some joy
right.
and
That's right.
optimism and
Yes.
and community. Like, the news cycle is so exhausting. This election is very stressful. Let's just dance it out.
That's right. That's exactly right. Glennis,
Yeah.
depending on, I know you're like just jetting from swing state to swing state, but if you are able to make it, I request a high, tight pony.
Oh, like a high and tight pony?
Because I only have poofs, so when I get the chance to like swing somebody else's
Yeah.
pony, like that's my jam. So we'll see if you make it.
Okay. All right. So come to Littlefield, 8 p.m., Brooklyn. I think doors are at 7, actually, if you want to come and warm up before the party starts. And maybe I'll have a high ponytail, like my soccer days.
Yeah, and let's just, you're so right, Glennis. Let's just fucking move. Let's like get the like scary vibrations off
Yeah.
and sign up to Phone Bank with Knock for Democracy. They're so fucking cute, actor founded, and it's going to be a great way to like bond with people that you will be virtually phone banking with in the coming 2 weeks. So let's dance.
Do you know what I'm going to pick up on my way to Littlefield?
What?
Big Mac, prepared by a professional, not by a giant man baby.
Oh, that's been in the group chat. Yeah.
That has been in the group chat.
That looks like it's AI.
What do you mean, him in the apron? Wait, that's not AI though, right?
No. It was real. But there was an AI version that someone else made.
Ew.
Yeah, what were our thoughts on that? I feel like the internet had a field day.
Yeah.
It's just like emblematic. He's such a poser.
Yeah, he's a fraud. Any sharing of him, he's like such a unsuspecting, unself-aware clown. I'm just like, don't share it, don't share it, don't share it. Only share the scary pictures with headlines for the plans he has for your body if he gets elected.
Well, that was the only takeaway. The only takeaway from the whole thing, and what every headline should have been, is Trump will not say whether he supports raising the federal minimum wage from $7 a fucking hour, because 75% of Americans think that it should be increased, and he would not answer the question, and no one's asked him since. And I'm like, that was the whole story, is he worked at McDonald's, and even standing there next to people who couldn't feed their families making the federal minimum wage in most places still couldn't say that he thinks workers deserve a fair wage. That's insane.
Criminal. He's a criminal.
What else?
Well, I have to make an announcement.
Okay.
Lady Gaga, she's releasing a single called Disease on October 24th, 25th.
Oh, that's soon.
Yeah, this is a gift for like someone like me who's just like holding on for dear life to get a Gaga single.
She's changing the conversation. She said, we're moving on.
Yeah, it was kind of like Chromatica coming out during COVID.
She's a healer.
Group chat. Also, I'm looking back now.
Alana, what's popping off in your group chat? What's going on in the world?
Like After Club has been pretty consuming
Yep.
in the group chats. My mom called me after the SNL one. She was like, is in the club We Are All Family something from the show? And I was like, hey mom, yes, it's from Broad City. My dad literally, this is so fucking cute. I like could cry. It breaks my heart. He rewatches Broad City and takes notes on legal pads.
That's so sweet.
It's so sweet. I like genuinely die and can't even think about it too long, or I will break down in tears.
What does he do with the legal pads?
Yeah, like puts them in a filing cabinet, like
That's
hanging
so
folders.
sweet.
And I'm like, girl, don't you know episode, I think 306 with Blake Griffin? Like, you know it better than I do, but my mom doesn't.
You know, it was just on my For You page before we hopped on was the scene you have with RuPaul at the sushi spot.
Which one? Sushi Mambo. Sushi Mambo.
Oh, it's so sweet.
You like turn around and you're like, actually?
Oh my God. When he's not going to
And
hire
isn't he
you.
like,
Yes.
Does he do a
He's
slow
like,
clap?
"You're hired."
He's so fucking cute. Oh my god, I die. And also he says, "How tall are you?" 5'2", and then presses my Jufro down. He's like 5'1.5".
He's
So
like
cute.
this tall.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, I saw Ms. Abby Jacobson this weekend,
Oh,
Cute.
and we were giggling about it. We think it's very cute.
It's really nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Broad City was such a moment in time for like
is.
millennials especially, and like
Yeah,
for it to be now like for Gen Z to really be embracing the
yeah.
show, it's very validating.
May it be a sign from the universe that we'll get a President Kamala Harris and thus be able to fight/work with her.
Period. Alana, thank you so much for coming on and for the work that you do every day to engage more Americans in our democracy. We are all better off for it. And we will see you on Thursday to dance
Yeah.
our
That's right.
asses off.
Thank you for having me. I love you both very much. We've really been, well, Glennis, you and I have been working together every day for 8 years, but Brian, it's been really fun to organize with you and with Jake Wilson and Benj Pasek and Broadway for Harris and Knock for Democracy and Plasma and Luis Fernando, to just grow our group has been really fun. And thanks for having me. I fear you might not be able to get rid of me. Oh, no, I'll leave. I'll leave. Thank you guys.
Thank you. All eyes are on the presidential campaigns, but President Biden is still at it, and he's determined to use every day in office to get as much done as he can. And that continued this past week when he announced an additional $4.5 billion in student debt cancellation for over 60,000 borrowers through the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. And this is probably my favorite program in his efforts to forgive student loans because it really starts with the people who have devoted their life in some way to public service, whether as like teachers or working for the government or something else. And so forgiving tens of thousands of dollars for example, a kindergarten teacher who's been paying her loans for 12 years is a major, major win that should be celebrated because that's going to have rebounding impacts,
Yes, it is extremely helpful.
So thank you, President Biden and Vice President Harris, for continuing to keep your promise.